So how long do car tyres last? Well, most people just look at the depth of tread and make a decision to replace them based on that. But actually tyres have a year stamped on them. So in this video, we're going to learn how to decode that year. And we're going to discuss the various factors that accelerate the aging of tyres and things you should be looking out for. And just because a tyre is still within its expected lifespan, it may still have worn out or be positively dangerous to use on your car. So we really don't want to get caught out here. The tyres perform an important function, keeping the car's grip intact, enabling you to manoeuvre and brake and accelerate smoothly. So how long do tyres last? Well, when you do a search online, it will typically tell you they're expected to last about 25 to 40,000 miles and about 3 to 6 years. Now that depends very much on the car you've got. I've never had a car that's gone beyond 15 or 16,000 in terms of the tyre lifespan, but that could just be down to the power the engine outputs. More powerful engines do tend to use up tyres more quickly than lower powered variants. So I guess the figures online are pretty much just averages. I've had tyres that have only lasted 9,000 miles before the tread depth has got down to dangerously low levels. I've had other tyres that have exceeded 9,000 miles, but they've actually started to crack and degrade. So I've had to replace those because the tyre structure itself had become compromised through age. Please can you just boot that like button, because that really does help us to get out there. We're a small channel and it really does help if you just do that small thing for me. So how can you tell how old your tyres are? Are all the tyres we buy brand new? Surprisingly not. And what are the factors that determine whether a tyre needs replacing or not? At this point, I should say a lot of auction sites and other sites are selling tyres very, very cheaply. But when they arrive and you check the date on them, you'll find they're very close to their expected lifespan. So what is that expected lifespan of a tyre? So if you look around the rim of your tyre, you will typically find 4 numbers. It's a DOT code, a Department of Transport code. So there's something similar in every region. Manufacturers seem to have just adopted this pretty much as a standard wherever you are. And the 4-digit number actually tells you what year it was made and what week it was made. So if a tyre says 2318, it was made in 2018, the 23rd week of 2018. So straight away, you've got a good handle on how old that tyre is. And I've bought tyres that have actually been 2 or 3 years old, or 2 or 3 years after the manufacturing date when they were fitted to my vehicle. In some countries, I think Germany is one of them, they recommend that you replace the tyres after 5 years. In other countries, it's 6 years, but certainly around about 5 or 6 years seems to be an accepted lifespan for tyres. They're made of rubber. Rubber tends to degrade over time. There's a few factors that can accelerate the wear and tear on the rubber tyre structure. So driving conditions, if you drive over rough roads or off-road, or you have a lot of potholes, the tyres are continually taking a pounding, and that can dramatically reduce their lifespan. In some countries, ours included, you've got these speed humps that are just in the middle of the road. So if you aim your car carefully, the inside edge of the tyres will typically just run over the outside part of this speed bump, and you can go over a fairly reasonable speed without being slowed up. But you hit it wrong and there will be a big jolt to your car. But those speed bumps have actually taken a toll on the inside tread edge of your tyre, and I've seen tyres that have worn through to the cords and fibres inside them, primarily just because it's been continually run over these little speed bumps that have been fitted. And that's danger that you wouldn't normally spot. If you're inspecting a tyre, you don't tend to go right under the car and check that inside edge. It's the most difficult side of the tyre to actually see. So general tyre maintenance, the front tyres are generally taking more of a beating than the back tyres, unless you slide the back of the car out a lot, that is. So rotating the tyres, that is moving the front to the rear and the rear to the front, changing the position on the axle as well. They can all even out the wear and tear on the tyres. Tyre quality is also a factor. Generally, if you buy a good quality premium tyre, it's going to last a lot longer than some of these budget tyres just through the materials that have been used and the way the tyre has been constructed. The tread compound itself has a bearing on the wear rate of the tyre, and generally summer tyres wear more quickly than winter tyres. So the formulations that manufacturers of tyres actually use does vary substantially between different brands and different models within their lineup, and the characteristics will translate into better performance for your car. So if you had a tyre that never wore out, you can assume it's not going to give you very much grip at all. So there's very much a compromise here. You want your tyre to provide you grip, but that grip comes at the cost of tyre life or tyre wear. Interestingly, another factor that really affects the lifespan of your tyre is not driving it. If your car is sitting on the tyre, the pressure is just constant in one part of the tyre, and that is a really quick way for the tyres to actually degrade. So the tyre compound is formulated, think of like waxy substances within the construction of the tyre, and as the tyre warms up and flexes over the road surfaces, it massages this into the very corners of the tyre itself and just helps to keep the tyre nice and supple and maintains the structure of that tyre. But if that's not happening, you might actually see cracking appearing in the surface of the tyre. It might be in the sidewalls. You might notice cracks appearing down the tread or between the tread blocks in the tyre, and that can indicate that that tyre is quite quickly degrading and needs to be replaced. So go out and check the date stamp on your tyres. If you are approaching the 5 or 6 year mark and it's not a legal requirement in your country to replace that tyre, keep an eye on the quality. You should be looking for bulges, cracks, splits, any deformation in the structure of the tyre, any crazing that maybe appears on the surface. Look between the tread blocks as well and just make sure that cracks haven't started forming deep in those tread blocks. And if they have, that's a sign really that you need to replace the tyre. So rather than just go by a rule of thumb, a statutory mileage or a statutory year, it's good to check the overall condition of your tyre. And I'm often asked if it's best to wait until the minimum legal tread depth, which in the UK is 1.6 millimeters. And I would actually say no, change them before that. That minimum legal requirement is actually going to severely hamper the performance of the car in wet conditions, and you're going to struggle to stay safe even at that legal minimum. So as a rule of thumb, a lot of people actually change their tyres at 3 millimeters. So they've only used up about 3 to 4 millimeters of the tread depth, but that maintains the performance of the tyre and ensures the safety of your vehicle at all times. Let me know what your thoughts are on the subject of changing tyres, how long they typically last you. I'm very curious to know what other people's experiences are with different brands of tyre and on different makes and models of car. So please hit that like button. That really does help us to get out there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We'd love you to stay tuned, and I've lined this video up for you that you should find really interesting. Thanks for watching.